A short life sketch of sage Vedavyasa. Adhyatma Ramayana is part of the Brahmand Purans, Uttarakhand. Since the text of the Puran was written by sage Vedavyas, it naturally follows that Adhyatma Ramayana was also written by him. Sage Vedavyas was a versatile, prolific, stupendously gifted prodigy of matchless genius par excellence, who is said to be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself. The Lord felt that the vast knowledge enshrined in the scriptures was so huge, jumbled up, abstract, and complicated that they were beyond the reach of ordinary mortals. Further, till this time, everything was based on memory, hearing, and speaking, passing from one generation of disciple to another generation in the oral form. There was a need to sort them out, to codify, systematize, and classify this vast ocean of knowledge contained in the Vedas to make them more useful and handy. So, Vishnu took the form of Vedavyasa to undertake this mammoth, daunting, and formidable task. It is believed that Vedavyas was born at the end of the Dwapar Yuga during the period of the Mahabharat war. He was a great grandson of sage Vashishta, grandson of sage Shakti, and son of sage Parashara and his wife Satyavati. He was named Krishna Dvepayana because he had a dark complexion and was born in an island, hence called Dvepayan, but the word Dweep means an island. Soon after his birth, he took permission from his mother Satyavati and went to Badrinath in the Himalayas to do severe penances and austerities, and he established his hermitage there. Hence, he was also called Badrayana. He consolidated, codified, and classified the bewildering mass of Vedic knowledge in 4 distinct treatises and named them according to the class or section of the priests called Ritvij, who would use them for their ritualistic practices such as the fire sacrifices or the yagnas. He also wrote extensive commentaries on them. Hence, he was also called a teacher or preacher or commentator of the Vedas, or in other words, Veda Vyasa. Sage Veda Vyasa was a person with a stupendous talent and prodigious memory. Prior to him, the Vedas were unclassified, jumbled up, motley collection of philosophical and spiritual hymns, as well as hymns associated with various formal rituals and worship. He segregated this jumbled mass into 4 distinct, separate volumes based on their content and purpose. The Vedic hymns had 2 basic categories: those dealing with philosophy, spiritualism, metaphysics, and the other dealing with formal ritualistic worship. Since the later use was more prevalent and dominant amongst the priestly class and were used during the performance of various fire sacrifices, the yagyas, he classified the Vedas into 4 basic texts called the Rig, the Atharva, the Sama, and the Yajurvedas. The fire sacrifice had 16 different categories of Brahmins participating in it from the beginning to its end. The role of some were peripheral only. Only 4 classes of priests were directly involved in the actual performance of the fire sacrifice. Such priests were called Ritvijas. And Vedavyasa classified the vast texts of the Vedas in such a way that each class of Ritvij would use a specific text of the Vedas for the specific duty assigned to them, or the special sphere of activity in which they were deemed to be an expert during the fire sacrifice. It is like a team of doctors performing an operation. They were collectively, but still each of them is an expert in their respective field. The 4 classes of such expert priests and the relevant Vedas were Riks. They were also called the senior most priests who presided over the ritual and were also called Hota. They chanted the hymns of the Rig Veda. The Yajus, these priests were junior to the Rigs and were also called Advaryo. And they chanted the verse categorized as the Yajurveda. Samans, these priests were the chanters of the holy hymns in a loud, sonorous voice in chorus. They can be called a modern day classical singer who attended any great function or festivity. They were also called Udgata. The Samaveda was meant for them. Atharvans, these priests did the actual physical offerings of oblations in the fire pit of the fire sacrifice. They were called Brahma because they represented the senior most god, and the hymns used by them were classified and collected under the name of Atharva Veda. So, as we have seen, the basic function of this classification was to facilitate the performance of the fire sacrifice. But this exercise did not give peace of mind to Veda Vyasa. His soul was yearning for something higher than these futile ritualistic exercises. So, as a next step, he further classified the Vedas into various Samhitas, the Brahmans, the Aranyakas, and the Upanishads. The result of this tireless exercise produced a much vaster tome of spiritual, philosophical, and metaphysical literature that Vedavyas thought it necessary and fit to write the basic tenets and maxims of the Vedas into a single volume of quick referral. This was called Vedanta Sutra, literally the key to the Vedas. The concept of the Vedas was still undigestible and daunting for the masses. So, he rendered the percepts palatable in the storytelling form by writing the 18 Puranas, a stupendous achievement of mammoth proportions. During the reign of the Kurus, he was revered by both the Kurus as well as their arch rivals, the Pandavas. Both the heroes of the epic Mahabharata war held him in high esteem. When he decided to write the story of Mahabharata, the documentary narration of the epic story of the clan fight and the devastating war that followed it, he chose Lord Ganesh as his scribe. Vedavyas had dictated while Ganesh had written the epic. It is said that the site where the epic Mahabharata was written is called Vyasa Gufa, located near Bharoch, while the place where he did his final tapa is called Vyasa Ashram, located in the village of Manna, 2 miles from the shrine of Badrinath in the Himalayas. His hermitage during the epic Mahabharata war was located in a village about 10 miles north of the city of Ambala in Haryana state. River Saraswati flows nearby. This place is also famous as the Vyasa Ashram. Time flew by, but still Vedavyas did not get peace at heart. Once, while he sat near River Saraswati, full of remorse, unsatisfied and contrite, sage Narada came to him and advised him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam, containing 18,000 shlokas. This voluminous work gave him final peace, so it is said. His guru was sage Yagnavalkya. His son was sage Sukhdev, the parrot saint. Veda Vyas chose 5 chief disciples who were initiated by him in the 4 Vedas and Puranas. They were as follows. He taught Rig Veda to his disciple named Paila, Yajur Veda to his disciple named Vaishampayana, Samaveda to his disciple Jaimini, Atharva Veda to his disciple Sumantu, and the Purans to his disciple Ramaharshan. It is believed that the sage Vedavyasa still lives, albeit in an invisible, intangible, and subtle form in the shape of the vast repertoire of spiritual, philosophical, and metaphysical literature that he has created for humankind. something which is not possible for any ordinary human being. These fortify the legend that he was an incarnation of Vishnu and not an ordinary being, a fact that is extensively covered in the Vishnu Puran 3.3. Summary of his works we will be sharing in the comment section. Hari Om.